When it's done well, video marketing looks simple. You just point the camera and go. Then when you try it, you realize there are so many moving parts. It can seem overwhelming, but right now, all the smart marketers are betting on video first. This week, my guest is Justina Rosu. Justina has worked with some pretty famous people, but she won't tell me that on mic, but I know. She was part of a small team that launched BBC Three and pioneered producer-filmed content there. Now she focuses on helping entrepreneurs get smart about using video. Hi there, and welcome back to Amplify, the Digital Marketing Entrepreneur podcast. I'm Bob Gentle, and every Monday I'm joined by amazing people who share what makes their business work. If you're new to the show, then take a second right now to subscribe so you don't miss new episodes, and you can grab some older ones when you're done with this one. Don't forget, you can join our Facebook community. Just visit amplifyme.fm/insiders and you'll be taken right there. Also, new thing if you're used to listening to this again and again, also on YouTube now. So you may enjoy searching Bob Gentle on YouTube and you'll get some different perspectives there. So welcome along and let's meet Justina. This week, I'm delighted to welcome Justina Rosu to the podcast. Justina runs a company called Purple Square Video. Justina, why don't you start just by telling us a little bit about who you are, where you are, and the kind of work you do?
Oh, thank you, Bob. It's great to be on your podcast. Thank you very much for inviting me.
It is my pleasure. I've been meaning to get you on for ages.
I'm very flattered.
And I apologise for not giving you much notice. Justina, for the listener, has jumped in at the very last minute because I failed to plan one or two things, which led me to needing somebody to come on quickly. Justina was top of my list and dropped everything, so thank you very much.
Oh, that's my pleasure. So hopefully I won't have any rude interruptions by my 3 teenagers, 2 dogs and a husband currently doing DIY around the house. So fingers crossed we won't get disturbed. But back to your question. So yes, thank you very much. I am Justina and my business is Purple Square Video. And what we do, or what I do, is work really hard to try and make video easy for entrepreneurs. I generally work with consultants, coaches and therapists, helping them make their own video with whatever they have available to use. I very much try and encourage people to start with some video strategy before actually going into creation. And then, of course, I work all the way through to full service video production, filming and delivering, editing, the full Monty, as it were. And now what I'm doing with this, because I've recently rebranded and we've kind of pivoted a little bit to kind of focus in this area towards entrepreneurs. So what that means is I'm creating this collection of services that will satisfy every entrepreneur's need. Is the idea. So that's what I do. Everything to do with video.
It is quite a spectrum, and I think talking about the entry level entrepreneur that's shooting something on their phone and then looks at the footage on their phone and thinks, I can't put this online. They need somebody to sort of top and tail and edit it and make it look good. All the way through to the high-end influencer with his teleprompter and the lighting and the audio. That's a big...
Yes, it is. It's a big spectrum, which is one of the things that I'm often reminding people, because so many times when you're networking or you're just meeting people, and I'm frequently randomly asked, how much does it cost roughly to get video made? And then I'm like, oh, that's like asking how long a piece of string is, because you can come to me with a brief that is quite basic. Let's say that doesn't go into too much detail, but it might be, for example, I would like a sales video to promote my new product coming up. I want it to be talking heads with me and some B-roll. So that can be you filming it yourself on your phone, or it could be, and this might be, say, 1 minute video. You do it on your phone, cost zero. Right up to thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of pounds. It depends what you want. So it's really hard then to service what people are after. But I've been doing this now for so many years. I kind of working with this sector of industry. I kind of have a really good feeling what people need, and it is both. People need sometimes jump straight into wanting professional video work, but even when you want professional video work, I'm always encouraging everyone to still make videos yourself on your phone, because that is still needed. And in fact, some of the training that I've done, I've trained in Westminster in government, working with minister aides, because they needed to be able to film on their phone, and I've trained CEOs also in how to film on their phones. So they still have professional filming, but because of the landscape that video is these days, it's kind of like one of those skills that no matter where you are in your success or level of business, you still need to be able to make a half decent video on your phone.
I think one of the things I'm curious about is there are lots of different kinds of people, and training people who are unaccustomed to being on camera, I guess, must be a part of what you're doing. I mean, yes, making videos is a technical thing, but actually for a lot of people the technical stuff is probably quite easy. It's actually, okay, you press the record button and then it's rabbit in the headlights. How do you help people past that?
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that I love to do, because you're right, it's such a different thing. And there's two on-camera differences really. When you're filming yourself, that's one obstacle. So there's no one else in the room, just you. And you still have to bring an energy to the camera. So even if you can get through if you have shyness, or if you have that kind of, if you have mind monkeys telling you that you kind of just don't want people to see you on video, even if you get over that, then you are still you still need to up your energy so much more than you actually think. And then when I'm working with people who are in front of camera with their crew, they also then have all these people just looking at them. So it does take, from my side as a director, when I'm working with someone on camera, there's a lot of making them feel at ease, of doing a little bit of rehearse, and it kind of takes a little bit of time, especially when it's the first time I'm filming with someone, for them to kind of get used to looking at the camera, looking in the lens properly, rather than looking to me for kind of reassurance when they need to look in the camera. It's a strange thing, and I think a lot, especially when I'm working with either CEOs or people that are used to speaking in public, they tend to think that they are going to be fine on camera because they're not shy people, they're confident, and they talk in front of people. But it's so different then when you start looking into just this black round thing, this lens, rather than having an audience. It's so much is about the energy. But a lot of people, it's the two biggest things are either technical fear, or that fear or discomfort of being actually on camera in front of the lens.
I totally get that. I mean, for me, it is much more the facing the lens, and actually what you describe about bringing the energy is, I totally get that, but hadn't properly made that conscious, because I do a little bit of video now, and I find it really quite difficult. It gets easier the more I do it, but yeah, I think it's, when I watch my videos back, the energy that I would like to bring to them often isn't there. It's better now, but yeah, that's really...
Well, do you sit down when you're making your videos?
I do.
Yeah, you might try standing up. It's a very different energy when you stand up as well. Like I do my pre-recorded videos, I stand up. I only sit, now I have my stand-up desk, which is going in today. I'll be standing up for everything. But it would, otherwise, when I'm doing a screen record video, that would be the only time I would sit down. Or obviously if it's like a live where maybe I'm at my desk. Which brings me to something else that is something for entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, people that are running their own businesses, to think about, particularly if you have a home office, is it's having these two different kind of home studio setups, for want of a better way of putting it. You need to have that one for when you're on camera in an interview, on your Zooms, doing consultations. Pay attention to that looking good. Yours looks amazing. And try and have like a second one set up somewhere where it is a bit different for those pre-recorded videos. And you don't have to have a lot of space to have that set up. It's just about playing around with it, really, to find out what works.
Yeah, I guess it comes to being intentional. You need to plan these things ahead of time. And certainly, being quite an aesthetic person, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to the visual elements of anything.
I can tell.
And it's caused me so many problems in life, I think. And a lot of people, if they are introverts, you'll probably identify with this, that perfectionism and visual perfectionism, a lot of the time, leads to you doing nothing, actually. You just don't take any action. But taking the time to really plan out the minimum viable background for you does actually relieve a lot of the pressure there.
Yeah, and it can help you feel more confident as well.
It does. It absolutely does. If you know it, actually you're the only weak link in this video, it's going to be okay.
No, you're not the weak link in the video. I think it's especially for introverts, of which I am also. I'm not a shy introvert, but I drain a lot when I'm around people, or when I'm having too much contact with people. I have to then have my space, so I totally get that. And it can actually, video can be easier for a lot of introverts because you don't have to be people facing. And having a background that you like really helps you to feel a bit more confident. Yeah, for sure.
So you mentioned when you're working with entrepreneurs, you like to start with some kind of strategy. And I'd like to just sort of nibble into that a little bit, because a lot of people, when they come to YouTube, for example, and I think for a lot of people it's important to understand not everything is about YouTube, but one of the things I encourage my customers to do is to look at their content strategy as a short-term strategy, and that'll typically be things like ads, and video has a place there. But it tends to be a video for a specific purpose. And then there's a medium-term strategy, which tends to be around social media, social networking. And then there's the long-term strategy, and that tends to be things like blog, podcast, or YouTube. And YouTube is actually quite important if you're trying to build your business online, because it's where you are more likely to build up a large legacy audience. But each YouTube video doesn't exist in isolation. It exists as part of a body of work. So that needs some strategy. And I'm curious to know, as somebody who spends a lot of time on this topic, what are the sort of fundamental YouTube strategy things that you see people regularly forgetting about?
Oh gosh, on YouTube it's huge, because the majority of people, and just first of all, actually the majority of entrepreneurs and big businesses, this isn't just a smaller business issue, don't appreciate the value of what a YouTube channel can do for your brand. And you're right, it's because in general it is harder work. It's, first of all, you're making videos, which is a learning curve in and of itself. And also YouTube is a long game. It generally takes longer to build your audience, although it can take off quickly, and many channels do. And that's not always something that you can pin down to one thing or another. You can just happen to get the right video at the right time, and it can just blow up, and then that feeds your channel growth. But to come up with, to give you some thoughts, give the audience some thoughts on what are some easy things to do with your channel, or to think about with your channel that most people don't consider, there's a few things. So first of all, to look at the homepage of your channel in the same way you would look at the homepage of your website. to aesthetically look at it in that way and to appreciate that this is your shop window. So typically what happens when someone will be looking for a solution to their problem on Google or directly in YouTube, then they find your video. They have, I won't talk about what that viewer's journey was, but anyway, they've consumed your video, decided they like it, and then they come onto your channel to have a look. So the first things that hits them are what's on your banner and your trailer. And then the eye goes down and sees what playlist you have underneath that. So your banner needs to be really attention grabbing, and that doesn't mean it needs to be all like neon colours and big flashy words, but it needs to communicate your what and your why, so that immediately that visitor understands what your channel does, what your value proposition is, and how you can help them. So there's actually so much work that should go into your banner, just the banner. It should always have your image on, and it should always have in as few words, succinctly as possible, what it is you do, what it is that you can help me with, and why I should care, why that should mean something to me. It's a big ask, and it's something that often evolves. It's hard to get it right first time. Then the very next thing is, so they'll see the banner, and then your trailer will just automatically play if they're not already subscribed to your channel, which is what an opportunity to have, is immediately be able to have a video playing when someone comes. So those first 10 seconds of that video, you really then need to seal the deal and have that really call them out, so they know immediately, yes, this is the channel I've been looking for in my life. Where has it been? Thank goodness I found it. And so they're the things that often just don't really get thought about on YouTube channels. And the other thing I would add into that strategically is, so they've found you through a video that is answering a question and that you have fulfilled on. So if then they get to your channel and there's really not much else on that topic or close to that topic, then they're highly unlikely to continue to go and watch any of your other content on there. So you need to think about strategically over what those content pillars are, what you want, the topics you want to dominate when you come to your YouTube channel, so that when someone comes over to your channel, having watched that one video, there's a lot of other content on that exact same topic. And that's where you can start introducing some strategy over your playlists. And yeah, I could talk all day about YouTube.
See, if anybody ever wanted to know why I do a podcast, I've been making notes here, because these are the questions that really matter to me right now. I had no idea. I did not think of the trailer autoplaying. That's golden.
It is.
How important are subtitles on YouTube? Because I noticed when I look at my YouTube analytics that a lot of my videos seem to be getting watched without the sound on. I don't know what's going on there, but is that normal?
So, I mean, having subtitles is really important, and if you don't put your own on, then YouTube is auto-generating its subtitles, and it's not just auto-generating those subtitles for your viewers, it's using that data. That is part of your metadata, that it decides what your video is about. And the reason why you need to go through and check if you're not uploading your own, then you need to go through, switch on the captions and check the accuracy, because otherwise like any bot that is generating subtitles, it gets things wrong. And if it can go catastrophically wrong if it's interpreting red flag words, then you could have your video taken down at the worst case. But anyway, you want people to be able to actually understand what you're talking about when they're looking at subtitles, and for the correct data to be being used as part of that algorithm that YouTube is using. So go through and make sure that the right words are coming up. And yeah, I would, you've got to turn that on. It's a it's a crucial part of your metadata for your videos.
So Google is automatically creating the subtitles for you. Is there anything that I need to manually do to enable that?
You go into your settings on your subtitles, and you can select the language, and you need to then enable them so they actually switch on, and check. Go through and just check it. It's really easy. It's really easy to do. Really easy to change, to update. And you can actually even then download them. So if you need an SRT file to put your subtitles anywhere else, you can just download it for free.
Well, if the listener doesn't mind, I'm just going to pause the recording. I'm going to do this now.
Okay.
I'm joking. Okay,
excellent.
that's indulgence enough for me so far. So for the average business owner that I meet, when I suggest to them video, there's a series of dominoes collapse in their head, and they straight away think corporate video. I'm going to blow all my money on one mega video. And video production companies love that because they get a big hit and one project, brilliant. But a lot of the time, it's not really the best thing for the business. If we look at any sort of foundational content strategy, I think it was Mark Schaefer talks about the hero content, the hub content, and the hygiene content in a sort of pyramid.
Yeah.
And corporate video, when I explain to customers, where does the corporate video sit in that? It's really the hero piece. It's the thing that you do once. It's a spectacle, but it's gone in a puff. And you should really only be doing that kind of big spectacle video when you've really got the budget for it. Where most people should be spending their time with video strategy. This is me making some assumptions. I'm interested in your opinion, but it is in the hub content.
Yeah. So how I describe the strategy of your video work is also in a triangle, but there's 4 pillars of your video content, and they all can start with an S. You can call them many things. I just have this silly thing. I like to have things that are easy to remember. So most people are already doing social video. That's the first pillar. Social video is anything from just doing your live video, which the majority of entrepreneurs, that's where they're starting. And then searchable video would be where YouTube fit in, or if you're just doing vlogs on your website, everyone should have searchable video. Sales video, so that is everything from your landing page sales video to your adverts, webinars, testimonials, even the videos that are behind a paywall would all fit into there. And then what you were calling hero, widely known as hero video, so I tend to call that your statement video. It's a very similar concept, but as you said, your statement video is, if you're looking at the triangle, is right at the top in the peak of that triangle. So you might do that once a year. It could even be every other year. So those statement videos or hero videos, it's the same concept. They have a longer shelf life. They are ones that's where you put your budget. If you have budget, if you don't have budget, it's where you put your energy. You spend more time planning that video. Typically, those videos are also fully scripted because they are generally shorter, so every word counts. And you spend far longer in production on it. It's the one that you would push out to PR opportunities. It's the one that you would put ad spend behind if you're going to put ad spend behind. They're the ones also that if you do then have a budget to have professional video made, that they're the videos that you start off with, having professionally shot. At the bottom of that pyramid is your searchable. So your searchable videos should be the lion's share of your videos that you are making. And what I talk about with people I work with is that your whole video strategy should be a search to social. So you start with your video as a searchable item, and then from that you would push it into social media as a version of that video. How sophisticated you get into reversioning it really just depends on how much you want to invest in your videos, or how deeply you want to think about it. For some people it's just it's a thought too far. One video has to fit everything, and then this concept still works. It's search to social, so then you just put that searchable video on your social media as it is. It doesn't work the other way around. Making a video for your social, using that as your search, is very weak. So it should always be search to social. And yes, when you're ready to invest money in your video making, if that's what you want to do, it should always be just in that hero content or in your statement pieces, because this is where you're stepping up as a leader and telling people what you stand for. It's where you're really making those statements, and they are more leadership pieces. So yeah, I could talk about video strategy a lot, but that's kind of some of the main areas.
I haven't heard it explained like that before. These 4 S's, I've made notes. They're really good. That's a lovely way of presenting it. I'm curious to know, again, it's mildly selfish, but I think everyone will probably benefit. In any kind of video, whether it's social, whether it's for search, what are some easy tricks for just adding a little bit of polish or sparkle? Because a lot of the time, if it's, say, a talking head video, very quickly you start to realize they all kind of look the same, or they're not branded, or what are your sort of go-to cheap tricks for making videos just look a little better?
Okay, so it depends on where you're starting from. So for some people, making your video look 1,000 times better is something as simple as your framing. So for that talking head video, there's still so many people making videos where I'm looking at their ceiling, or where they have decapitated themselves. And it's the thing I find myself talking about so often. It's the easiest thing, and it immediately elevates the professionalism of your video. It's simply playing around with the height and the angle of what you're recording onto. So if that's your laptop, you just put boxes under or whatever. So if I'm starting at the very basics, it's think about your framing. Kind of next level along there is creating a nicer background like you have on your videos. And really then after that, it's assuming you've addressed your lighting, if you've got to that stage of making a nice background. From that point on, it's really about introducing B-roll is the best way to uplift your talking head video. Ideally, when you look at, okay, let me give you some homework for everyone to do. This might surprise you. When you're next watching television or a movie, count the seconds until there's a shot change. So a shot change means a shot change. It can be the same scene, and you'll be surprised you might miss a few of these, because initially you might be looking for a change of scene. It's not a change of scene, but a change of shot. So and you'll be surprised you're counting 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Occasionally you'll get up over 5 seconds. You don't often get over 10 seconds. And that is because our attention spans are so short. So to create an engaging video, you want to, as much as you can, introduce as many shot changes as you can. So what does that mean for us filming our own videos? As well as B-roll, it comes down to, when you're in the edit, changing your shot size. So you can crop into your shot, you can move yourself to one side or the other. So in order to do that, you need to make sure that your shot to start with is wide enough. So if you are filming yourself on camera and you're already, say, filming from your chest up, so you get in the top of your shoulders, so you haven't left yourself any real room to be able to crop in. Your crop in then is a super close up, which is great. I like super close-ups, but then that's the only thing you can play with. So if you try and make sure that you're getting your elbows into your frame, then it gives you a bit more leeway to have, say, 3 different shot sizes, and then you can move yourself to the left, move yourself to the right, as well as like 2 other punch-ins. So that's one thing to do. And obviously then B-roll in its most basic form can simply just be a still image that you're adding on, or if you are feeling creative, filming your own would be even better. Buying B-roll footage is expensive, so please do try and film as much as your own B-roll as you can, appropriate to what you're introducing in your video. Then having on-screen text in 2 different styles, partially on screen, fully on screen, adding sound effects. But then it's also about your own delivery in person, and trying to smile and be engaging with your facial expressions, and using gestures. Because even those 2 things, using gestures and having an expressive face, that in and of itself is also bringing in movement to your video, bringing in more interest. So while if you want to do as little as you can in the edit, then you can introduce more in how you are on screen. Even things like leaning in towards the lens, moving yourself away from the lens, having props that you can bring onto the screen with you, and you can have a lot of fun with that. I've got some videos, I think, where I've had one of my children throw me different hats to try and put on. So you can then use what's going on in your frame in a more creative way as well, if you want to do less in your edit. So yeah, there's lots of things like that you can do. And then when you are filming your B-roll, or if you want to actually film your pieces to camera out and about, then you can have a lot more fun with things like camera angles, and it does pretty much come down to camera angles, and then how you're showing yourself coming into the shot. But yeah, there's maybe too many things I've just thrown into the mix there.
No, not at all. For anybody that matters, they should have been taking notes like I was.
There's lots of rabbit holes you can go down in that one. But I would say though, smiling is a big one. Lots of people, I mean, myself included, it's really easy to forget to smile. And if you, I mean, there's a lady called Vanessa Van Edwards. She did a study on TEDx videos, TEDx talks from them on video, and she's a researcher, and she has a team of researchers, and she came across a video in her, like, personally, that she wanted to watch, a TED talk, and then she happened to see another one which was really similar topic, came out about the similar time, and yet one had gone viral and the other hadn't. So this triggered her curiosity. You know why? Because essentially she couldn't really see any reason, looking at the content and, you know, the other variables. And her research team ascertained at the end of that big piece of research that the videos that went viral had something like, I forget the figures now, it's been a while since I've read the details, it had something like 3 or 4 times as many that people had used 3 or 4 times as many hand gestures, and they smiled a lot more, and that made people believe they were more intelligent and more charismatic, regardless of what they were actually saying. So it's a really powerful thing to smile and to use gestures.
Science says smile.
Science says smile, and the other thing about smiling is it's contagious. And if you were to, another piece of homework you can do is smiling at a stranger, and someone has to, if they've seen you smile at them, our instinct is to smile back. Our reflex is to smile back. Your brain has to actually decide not to smile in order to not smile. It's an actual, you fundamentally have to make that decision. So if you're making a video and you're wanting your audience to enjoy the video and to have a good feeling from it, the more you can smile, the better.
I like it.
So it makes you feel good too.
So I'm going to start asking you about your business in a minute, and we probably need to wrap it up quite soon. But I'm curious, you mentioned sort of filming out and about, and I think for a lot of people, me included, that's frankly terrifying. It's okay in my little office where nobody can see me, but it's just not the same as being able to sort of vlog, I'm making quotation marks, on the move. It just looks amazing when people do it. Any confidence tricks for just being able to crack that nut?
It is a big step to make to be as visible as filming out and about on your own, because you do have to be quite brave. And so a good way to start is to just go somewhere where you probably won't see anyone, but you're still breaking that barrier of being out of your comfort zone. So off to a park somewhere quiet where you can just set up your camera on a bench next to you or on a wall, something like that. But it's probably a good idea to, if that's what you want to do, just go with a buddy, have someone there with you that you can have a bit more of a laugh with. People do the funniest things. I mean, when I've been out filming, they just jump in front of camera. Everyone's always saying who you're filming for, and just doing daft things when you bring attention to yourself like that. Especially, when I've been filming with celebrities, it's just really hard. The public just don't want to leave you alone. But these days, when you're just filming on your phone, if that's what you're using, it's less conspicuous, but it is still a confidence thing. So I would just say, if that's what you want to do, find yourself someone else who maybe wants to do the same thing and go together, or get a willing participant, like maybe if you have a child that's old enough, or a partner or a friend that can go with you, so that you're not actually doing it on your own, so you don't feel quite such a strange person. But yeah, I've made some of my clients do the most uncomfortable things. I do like to try and push people's comfort zones, but I've made people go into big crowds where we have had a really long lens, and so the camera's been out of sight. Other people don't even know that they're talking to a camera. And I've made them, jump up and down, make funny faces, and deliver a piece to camera, to the camera that's a long way away. So yeah, it does get fun. But like many things, the more you do it, the less, the more normal it becomes. The more normal it becomes. But that is a hard one to do. It's definitely one for when you've become a little bit more experienced and comfortable.
So what does your favourite client look like now? I mean, who is an ideal client for you? It has changed a lot. I used to actually specialise in filming food. They were great clients because then I could eat them afterwards if they didn't get poked around too much. So yeah, that was fun. Nowadays, it's an entrepreneur who's on their journey, who just wants to make better videos, whether they are starting out and what they're after is just some simple training on how to write a script, or how to structure an outline of a video, through to maybe then as they progress, they want to launch on YouTube, then maybe they want to go on stage and they need
speaker reel being made, and then they might want to then start having their occasional professional videos shot. So my ideal client really is just somewhere on that path, where they are working with their own content and making a change in the world. They are helping people. That's something which is really important to me. I really like my clients, and we become friends, and that's largely because I just tend to work with people who have got a mission in their business to help people in what it is that they do best. And then my part of that is really just helping you show up to your fullest natural version of you on camera, so that then people who need what it is that you do see that authentic side of you and realise that you are the person that they need.
Justine, we should probably bring it to a close. That's a brilliant answer, and hopefully some of those people are listening. And I will invite you to sort of tell us how they can get in touch with you in a minute, but I need to remember to ask you my question. I try and remember to ask every guest, what's one thing you do now that you wish you'd started 5 years ago?
So it's not a difficult one for me to answer. I wish that I had started my own YouTube channel that much time ago, and not just that, but just being consistent with making videos. Like everyone else, I suffer with the same, not necessarily fears, but discomfort of being on camera. And so personally, I work on other people's videos all the time, help everyone else to get on camera, and so I neglect myself. And so my big wish I would have known then and had started then would be just simply making regular video content, even if that would have been just one a month. It's about just being regular with content, which I'm sure you know all too well.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what you tell your clients. But yes, it would be to be making regular video content, whatever that would have looked like.
And if people do want to engage with you, if they want to get in touch, how would you like them to do that?
I would love your listeners to come and find me on YouTube, and they just have to search my name in YouTube, Justina Rosu, YouTube, and I pop up. That's very easy to find.
Your surname is spelled Rosu, just for anybody that's not sure, but I will put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, that is it indeed.
Justina, you've been a fantastic guest, ridiculously generous with your knowledge. It's been a treasure trove. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And yeah, I can't wait to see you again soon, hopefully in person one day in the future.
Yes, I'm sure it's not that far away. It's been lovely chatting with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There was so much in that interview. How do you sum all that up? Like I said so many times, the easiest way to start is to start. Don't overthink it. Just make a simple video, learn from that, and repeat. Everything else is details. Before I go, just a quick reminder to subscribe, and if you haven't already, to join our Facebook group. You'll find a link in the show notes, or visit amplifyme.fm/insiders. I would love for you to connect with me on social media, especially on YouTube. Follow me wherever you hang out, and you'll find me at Bob Gentle. And if you do follow me or connect with me and you listen to the podcast, let me know. That way I can follow you back. If you enjoyed the show, then I would love for you to review it on iTunes. It helps me a lot, and it's the best way to help me reach new subscribers. My name's Bob Gentle. Thanks again to Justina for giving us her time, and to you for listening. And see you next week.